Broncos have signed a potential Lloyd Cushenberry replacement in center Sam Mustipher to a one-year deal. So we're going to react to this signing, break it down, get you guys familiar with Mustipher because it's a really low floor and a really high ceiling type of signing in terms of value and importance to this team in 2024 because Mustipher could be their starting center. And he could also not even make the 53-man roster. I think there's that much of a polarizing possibility for Mustipher on the 2024 Broncos. But let's get you guys familiar with him, and then I'll give you my honest reaction and feedback to this signing. He was a 2-year starter for the Bears at the center position from 2021 to 2022. In 2020, he had a small role with the team, helping out off the bench, filling in for injuries, but for 2 seasons, he was their number 1 starting center. Then he basically got demoted/fired from that job when his contract expired. The Bears did not bring him back. They went to sign a different center. He landed in Baltimore for 2023, where he served as a backup offensive lineman, making 2 starts for the Ravens, bringing his total to 42 starts in his career. So he's got lots of experience. He was a UDFA out of Notre Dame, so give him credit for working his tail off to get to the NFL and stay in the NFL. Now, you might recognize the last name. His younger brother, PJ, was a defensive tackle out of Penn State who signed with the Broncos as a UDFA last year, spent much of 2023 on the Broncos practice squad before being signed to the active roster in New Orleans. Now, you guys know that no matter what the signing is, no matter how big or how small, size does not matter here at the Broncos Breakdown. So never miss a signing when you are subscribed. We're trying to get to 21,500 subscribers before the start of the NFL Draft. Now, my personal reaction to the signing is I'm going to try and be nice, but I don't have big expectations. And if Denver's plan for the starting center role is we'll just give it to Sam Mustipher, that's a bad plan. Because Sam Mustipher, I'm sorry if he's watching right now, he kind of sucks. You can look at his PFF overall grades in his career. Last year with the Ravens, 67.0, the highest of his career. But he only played 9 games, 2 starts. He just filled in at various points when injuries popped up mid-game. He was never their true starting offensive lineman going into the year or really at any point in this season. But his 2 seasons with the Bears as a starting center, I mean, his PFF overall grade in 2021 compared to 2022 did see a bit of a boost, but he's still ranked towards the absolute bottom of the league in his first year. And in his second year starting, there was an improvement in the eyes of PFF, but if you talk to any Bears fans, this was a player that Chicago Bears fans wanted to run out of town. He was just unstartable. He was a bottom 3 center in the league, and I know that's not what you wanted to hear, and you probably wanted to hear, oh, this was going to be a great under-the-radar signing. But I'm trying to keep it a buck with you guys here and say this is not a signing I have big expectations for. If he does end up starting, I think that says a whole lot about where Alex Forsyth and Luke Wattenberg are at compared to Sam Mustipher being a really good starting center in this league or even an average starting center in this league. So we'll look at Denver's offensive line in more detail and talk about that center battle because that's going to be one to watch for during training camp. But first, I want to shout out our sponsor today, which is PrizePicks. If you're unfamiliar with PrizePicks, let me get you caught up to speed. It's daily fantasy made easy, the #1 DFS platform in all of North America. And what I love about it the most is it's super simple and easy. All you have to do is pick 2 to 6 players, and then you choose more or less on their projected stats. And you can turn $10 into 5x your money. Now, if you want an example, here are my selections for this afternoon and this evening's games. I saw on MLB they had a really cool option where you can combine 2 pitchers and take the more or less on their runs allowed in the first inning. So we'll just root for defense. I took the less on Ryan Weathers and Lance Lynn. I also like the more on Nikola Jokic, 13 rebounds. How can you not? And then I saw a really fun option, which was a demon, which is a higher stat projection, so a little harder to reach. However, a much more lucrative payout, such as the more on Miles Wood at 2.5 shots on goal. So if you like these selections and you want to have some fun while watching baseball, hockey, and basketball tonight or any other night, download the PrizePicks app and use code CLNS, for a first-time deposit match up to $100. I put the link for that and all the information in the comments and description of today's video. But shout out to PrizePicks for supporting us here at Chat Sports and the Broncos Breakdown. So go support them as well. Download the app today and make sure to use that code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Now, when we look at Denver's offensive line, I tentatively have Alex Forsyth as this team's starting center, and that's just primarily because George Payton, when he spoke to the media after Week 18, said, we view Alex Forsyth as a starting center in this league. So the former 7th-round pick out of Oregon, I think, gets penciled in at the top of the depth chart, but I think it's really anyone's game between him, Luke Wattenberg, and Sam Mustipher for that starting center role in between Ben Powers and Quinn Miners, where I hope Ben Powers and Quinn Miners, who are really good starting guards, can just lift anyone up between them and at the center spots and not make it a hideous disaster, because those two guys should be able to get the job done on the interior offensive line. Of course, this is a signing to try and replace Lloyd Cushenberry. And listen, I applaud the Broncos for not just handing the job over to either Forsyth or Wattenberg. Instead, they're trying to bring in some competition and let the best rise to the top. But it's just not very good competition. And that's the tough pill to swallow here. We don't know much about Alex Forsyth. Maybe he'll turn out to be a really good center. And all this is mute. But if he does look and play like most 7th-rounders do, and hey, I want to be optimistic, but when we're talking about 7th-rounders, we can't act like anything's a guaranteed. Luke Wattenberg, he never really impressed me much in either of the preseasons he's played in so far. And then Sam Mustipher, he sucked when he started for the Bears. So yeah, I'm going to be a little bit on the pessimistic side when it comes to these three guys duking it out for the starting center job. I think the Broncos are going to be looking for a new starting center as soon as 2025 rolls around. So with that being said, do you think Denver should draft a center? Yes or no? Let me know what you think in the comment section. There's really only one notable center in this year's draft. It's out of Oregon. It's Jackson Powers Johnson. You don't really see that size, 6'3", 320 pounds, and the athleticism of a pulling guard enter the draft every single year. And that's what makes Powers Johnson so special and why I think he's going to be a first-round pick. Now, I don't think that's the move at pick number 12. But if Denver were to trade back and wanted to get some more day 2 capital, maybe, somewhere in the 20s, you could see Jackson Powers Johnson be the pick for Denver. Although once they signed Sam Mustipher, to me that signaled the Broncos have done a lot of homework on the centers in this year's draft. They don't really like any of them, and they don't expect to get Jackson Powers Johnson. So why not go to free agency, sign a cheap center who's got some starting experience, and have it be a 3-man battle for that starting center role. All right, before we get on out of here, we've been doing 21 reasons to be optimistic for 2024 in honor of reaching 21,000 subscribers. And we are down to number 1, which is Sean Payton. Why? Because everyone's trust has to be in on Sean Payton. If this team is going to be successful in 2024, it is because of Sean Payton. It is not because of Jared Stidham at quarterback. It is not because of Jonathan Cooper and Baron Browning coming off the edge. No, if this team turns some heads and this is a playoff team, it's because Sean Payton coached the part of a Super Bowl winning coach, right? 160 wins in his career, took New Orleans to the playoff 9 times through 15 seasons. This is the coach Denver needs to get. That's the guy they traded a first and a third-round pick for. So I want to be optimistic that we're going to see the coach that dominated for so long in New Orleans and bring that success to the Broncos. From day one, he's been trying to win. I remember that Broncos-Cardinals preseason game. He legitimately looked like he just lost a playoff game at the end of that game against the Cardinals when they lost in the last 30 seconds or so. So I want to be, full on in, believe in Sean Payton mode, because to be honest with you guys, that's kind of the only option Broncos country has at this point. If it's going to work, it's going to be because of Sean Payton. All right, that will do it for us on this show today. Sam Mustipher competing for the starting center role with Alex Forsyth and Luke Wattenberg. Not super jazzed up about that. I don't think it's going to be a very good competition. I don't think it's going to be a very good starting center, but I would love to be wrong.